paid tickets to get in, and they don't even know who I am yet. I'm just some artist that's about to perform. And all of a sudden, the crowd goes crazy, and I look over to my right, and who do I see? But it's Everlast. And I'm like, no way, man, that's Everlast. I'm about to do a show at House of Pain. This is crazy. So Everlast walks by me, and I go to shake his hand, and he looks right through me.
You don't even exist.
I was like, cool, fuck me, right? Like, I'm supposed to open for you.
Man, holy shit. Well, hello, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, people. How is everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of What's Your Story, featuring Poonsauce McNasty and the Angry Hippie himself. How's everybody doing? Yeah, it's just another day in the life of just being me and Sean being Sean.
Yes.
So my hands hurt, doing?
My back hurts, but I'm making money, so bug them.
Well, before we get into what we're going to talk about today, I had something very interesting happen today. I wanted to kind of just share.
Share the story.
We have different divisions of where I work, and one of our divisions is in the process of signing some kind of agreement with a union, which is, I guess, it's been kind of delayed. And so I'm echoey, son of a bitch. Hold on.
Echoes.
Hold please.
You are now experiencing the Dunkel Croy experience.
Let's see.
Please stand by.
Yeah. This is part of the experience of watching the show, people. You gotta go through me with my technically difficulties I always have.
You want to know what's in the news, everybody? Technical difficulties. Back to you.
I can never get this shit right. It's just always a constant pain in my ass.
Today in the news, 20 dead from a tidal wave.
Today in the news, Poonsauce still doesn't know how to work OBS. Fucking bullshit.
Yes.
Am I still echoey? Let's see. I don't know. Are we still hearing echoey sounds live? Put 2 schmeckles down for yes. Put 3 schmeckles down for no. I don't know. We'll find out.
Hey, hoodly doodle.
Hey, hiddly doodly. Hi, hiddly holy. I never want to say that ever again. I feel like less of a man now saying that. Whoa.
Well,
I feel like less of a person. I don't know. Hoping that we're not echoing anymore. Oh yeah, so back to my story. So it's the union agreement that was not as bad. Well, I'm gonna fix that and hopefully get rid of the problem completely. Let's see if that does anything. Hopefully it does. We'll see. Let's go on with the damn thing. And then, we'll see what happens. So, the union decided to use a kind of a scare tactic with our company today, which was very interesting. Because I pull because we have 2 buildings, one across the street from each other, they're across the street from one another. So, the union came to where I work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and actually, I don't know if it was a protest, but they put an inflatable rat on there saying the owner of this company is a rat. And they had the owner of this company is a, what the fuck did it say? Hold on. I gotta look at the picture that was sent to me when, people that I used to work with. Hold on. It says, so-and-so company is run by a rat. And, it was crazy. I'll see if I can get the picture to show up. Here, but let's see. That's what it looked like.
A giant inflatable rat.
Saying, the owner of the company is a rat and everything. So I thought that was interesting because I've never seen that kind of, scare tactic / protest happen before, especially with the company I work for. That's a very interesting thing to see, and I guess seeing it firsthand was one you didn't expect.
No doubt. I mean, we both had some weird days apparently, because for me, I work at a quick lube place, and I don't know how in the hell they expected us to pull this off, but they left us a 3-man team to try to run 3 bays and do our job. It was a bit much. But yeah, that's life, I guess. Still working out these audio bugs I see.
Hopefully, I don't know. I turned an audio capture off. Maybe that I had 2 running. So I turned one off and see if anybody can hear me.
Are we there yet?
So, do you guys hear anything?
Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody out there? Just nod if you can hear me.
We're still.
Is there anyone at home?
We're still creaking out all the dangle clacks, because it wouldn't be a Poonsauce McNasty channel without a dangle clack in it once in a while.
I want to give a shout out here real quick to Vapor for Life Jen. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for supporting us. You're awesome.
Now it says I'm super quiet. What if I turn it all the way up? And so maybe my volume went up. I don't know. We're still... See, most of the show starts with me fixing my audio issues, which I'm perfectly okay with once in a while. I could have gone sure to talk. Be sure to talk into the mic. Thank you, Lit.
Yeah,
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Poonsauce McNasty is not a qualified audio technician.
Oh, not at all.
So
while
he's working his way through
all the dangle clacks.
He's learning. He's learning fast.
Why don't you tell everybody what you're vaping on, Sean?
All right. Speaking of dangle clacks and working out different dangle clacks, I think I worked out a couple, because check this out. No more focus button. I have the ability to just let my camera do the autofocus. And since it's Warlock Mods Wednesday, I've got a Warlock's hammer today with me. This is a dual 21-700 for those who aren't familiar with it. It chucks so hard that I'm going to have to hit it right now. Killer.
You mean like this Warlock's hammer?
I do mean like that one. And inside, I've got that Beantown Reserve soaked custardy. You guys may have seen me vape this on occasion. It's a barrel-aged bourbon custard. Spent a lot of time in a retired bourbon barrel, and then it was filtered and made ready for vaping.
That's a very little baby bottle.
Yeah, little 30 mil unicorns are weird, aren't they? Up next, we got that Just Right Edition MDX by the Unicorn Vapes. Got to use the second hand and not let my face come in. Come on, autofocus. You can do it. There she goes. Oh, yeah. Rocking Unicorn RDAs all day because it's become one of my new favorite RDAs. Inside of that, I've got Cannoli B1, the very, very best cannoli e-liquid on the market, in my opinion. There's a reason that Vaping Magazine has dubbed John Nathan the Cannoli King. Try Cannoli B1 and you'll see what we mean. And then beyond that, I actually broke this little guy out recently. I got a couple of smokers I want to try converting. So I pulled out the Zero pod system, got some pods for it, got it all set up. And inside, I've got, where did I put that little guy? Here it is. Another little 30 mil unicorn. This is Dude Dynasty's Blue Raz Lemonade. And this is 18 milligrams inside that pod system. Gives just a perfect throat hit, nice amount of nicotine, but it's still not overwhelming like most salt nicotines are. And it doesn't have a lot of the effects that salt nicotine does. So, you know, that's huge too. A lot of people don't understand what salt nicotine can actually do to the cell structure. And yeah, salt nicotine's the devil. I'm just going to say it. That shit is sketchy. So I like to run freebase 50-50 blends in my pod systems. That's it for me. I'm going to kick it back to you. What are you vaping on?
Let's see. It's a few things, I guess. Got my Brazil with the APOC 25, Gatorboard drip tip. And what do I got in there? In there I got some fried banana.
Mm.
And then don't fall over. Oh god. I got the Big Nasty, or my overpowered stack, with the Glacier on top. Just
Nice.
some honkers in there. Some just beefy coils.
Mm-hmm.
And inside of there, nose itch. Holy crap. Ah. And inside of there, I got some of my brother from another mother's. His juice. He's the mastermind behind it. Some my overdripped vanilla custard.
Mm.
And then what else? Oh yeah, got my Cyclone Mods Evo with the gear on top. Inside of there, I got, where did the bottle go? I have no, what the hell? Some Superb White Peach. And what else? Haha. The SQ with the Hadley. And then that in there is some Bad Mother Clucker by Free Range. And then finally the setup that I've been using, just because mostly the RTA, and this is kind of matchy now. But I pulled this out of the drawer, well, the cabinet, because I haven't used it in a while, and it matches the RTA that I can't put down really well. I got my Snow Wolf 218 with the Rebirth on top. Ardent drip tip, of course, because the clear Ardent tips are awesome.
Yes.
And inside of there, I got the very
Agreed.
little bit I have left of Pango by Transistor. And do I have anything else? Take one quick look around. Nope, I think I'm good. Yep, that's all I got tonight.
I actually found a shop in my local area that is already carrying Pango. So shout out to South Shore Vape for being on the Transistor train and carrying a shitload of options for Transistor vapors. If you're in the Kingston, Massachusetts area and you're looking for Transistor products, I highly recommend that location, as they've got a great selection of some of the best from Transistor. And that's it for me. Back to you in the studio, Poonsauce.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Okay, hold on. Drink time.
That's what she said has train time. We got drink time.
This cup is like everything.
It's Hopsomania, brother. What are you going to do?
Oh my god, that's amazing. So today we're here to talk about a couple things happened this week. Not really much has happened this week, but there's a few things that have happened that we kind of wanted to use to talk about as our main topic today.
Whoa, I shrunk.
So we've had a little bit of indoor vaping bans happen, which it's something we don't see a lot of. I know there's a couple states out there that already have this implemented. Like, I know Oregon's one of them already. Trying to think of another state that's like that. Yeah, Oregon, I think, is the only state that I know of that is.
The most recent one, though, for some of our friends is Minnesota.
Yeah.
And, Minnesota, man, it's a crazy one, okay? The information I'm going to read to you tonight comes from Vaping Magazine. You can go to vaping.com and check out the article by Angela Garrity. But this actually matters because this goes into effect tomorrow.
Yeah.
So as of tomorrow, Minnesota is going to have a indoor vaping ban. It's a new law that bans vaping for most indoor public places. The Minnesota Clean Indoor Air Act, or the MCIAA, is an extension of the Freedom to Breathe Act, and it prohibits the use of e-cigarettes and vaping devices in most indoor areas. Now, interestingly, the MCIAA does not prohibit outdoor smoking or vaping, regardless of the distance from building openings, such as doors and windows. And smoke or vapor drifting in from outside of a building is not covered by the MCIAA. And vaping devices that are prescribed by a doctor are also excluded from the law. Which,
see, that's something that I never think I would hear in an article. Or see, I don't know, you can hear an article when you read it. But, first of all, do we know of any vaping devices that are prescribed? I can't think of any.
Yet,
Yeah, so
yet.
that puts something to our ears to where that should be ticking off of something in your head to be like, wait, is that something that the government's going to be trying to do now? Big Pharma's going to be trying to do something like that? I wouldn't be surprised if the first company that we see that does something like that is going to be Pfizer. I don't know who said that, but I think our lovely buddy Scott might have his finger already dabbled in that. So that would be interesting.
I think it's ludicrous.
It's insane
because I mean, all right, for one, you can't, on a federal level, you can't smoke indoors anyway. But what this does is this effectively bans the ability to vape inside of a vape shop. And for those, like, there are cities in my state of Massachusetts that have enacted indoor vape bans. I believe Boston is one of them. And for those people who are very familiar and, utilize vape shops on a routine basis, the testing process of new e-liquid is a big part of your decision making. And you're literally cutting them off at the knees when you eliminate that. Many of us have bought an e-liquid online and thought, oh man, the profile sounds great. Got it in the mail, wicked it up, did the knuckle test, went, oh man, that's actually really good. Wicked it up and went, oh, what did I get myself into? What a garbage piece of trash this is. It doesn't vape at all like it smelled or tasted on the knuckle. So effectively, this is cutting those vape shops off right at the knees and inhibiting a big part of their process. And that's frustrating. It definitely has a negative impact. It also is frustrating because, let's face it, that's a big, huge part of your initial transition process. And I mean, I think all of us, when we first encountered vape shops, that was the most exciting part was, finding out what was new and what fit your palate, because you don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, we know, and like I can walk into a vape shop and go, all right, what do you got in these couple of categories? And I can narrow something down and find something that I'm going to like. But when you're a new vapor, you have no idea.
No, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. So your first reaction to going to those places, you're like, okay, like what you should be feeling is you're going to go in there. The person behind the counter is going to set you up with a device that fits the needs that you have depending on how much you smoked. And they're going to set you up with a flavor that best fits your desire or whatever flavor you're trying to get. Even if it's like a fruit, and if you're trying to go like stick to a tobacco flavor that gets you that same feeling as you're smoking a cigarette without smoking the cigarette. That's what these people are looking forward to, because what this is doing is cutting off what these people are doing to effectively make that change, because you're cutting off what they're able to do. Nobody's not going to dabble into vaping when you don't have the opportunity to do it the correct way with getting the right device, sampling the correct flavors. Somebody's going to go and spend the money to get it. The device might be good, but think about it. Most vape shops make most of their money off their e-liquid.
Yep.
That's just straight fact.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be making your money off somebody coming in and buying 2 coils.
Like, yeah, I mean, let me level with everybody for those who don't understand the inside track of a vape shop. A vape shop that aims to be successful has to have a 100% markup on all products, basically. So that's why you see something like a mod that you might be able to buy online for $60 cost you $100 in a vape shop, because at wholesale it's probably $50, $55. The vape shop says, all right, we'll mark it up to $100 and we'll sell that kit. That is a tough area because you can't make a big margin on that product. Similarly, your coils don't make a huge amount of money either, because at a $5 margin, each coil is costing you $1.50 to $2. You don't have a huge margin. Where you typically find your margin in the vape shop is the e-liquid. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can cut some really good deals with your manufacturer. There are distributors who will do $12 and $13 bottles, which is something that a lot of people are familiar with your wholesale direct pricing that you can get online currently. So at $13 a bottle, when the shop is asking for 26, you already see it's just 100% markup. That's them trying to make their money. Sometimes they can get lucky and they can get $10 or $9 a bottle. But more often than not, they're paying $10 or $11 a bottle. And that leaves them about 125 to 150% markup, depending on what they want to price the product at. E-liquid is one of the many lifebloods of the vape shop. And especially today, I say one of, because nowadays, with the shifts in vaping trends, e-liquid is no longer the moneymaker it used to be, because the majority of people coming into a vape shop aren't buying traditional e-liquids that we all vape.
They're buying refillable pods.
They're majoritively buying pod systems with, a bottle of salt mix, something like that. And so vape shops are already down in a lot of cases. And anything that a city ordinance or a state ordinance does to hinder their ability to operate is just adding insult to injury at this point. It's tough, man. It's really tough at this current state to run a vape shop. And especially so when you're looking at the prospect of everything that's coming down all at once from all the different directions. God bless those shops that are fighting through it, because there are some that are just keeping their head above water right now. And then there are some who are doing well enough that they can really help the fight. And so God bless those shops that can. But it's tough right now. And speaking of tough, let's talk about Alabama for a second, because I know we got some friends in the South. Alabama has some new laws and restrictions going into effect tomorrow as well. So this is another article that you can get from vapingmagazine.com, also brought to us by Angela Garrity. And some of the things that are going on in this new Alabama law: vape shops are required to have a tobacco license. According to the Alabama Retail Association, almost 8,000 retailers sell tobacco products, though since licenses were previously not required, it's unclear how many offer vaping products. So that's a kind of standard issue thing. That's nothing to be too freaked out about. Tobacco licensing is something that a lot of states do. Next, advertising of vaping and other alternative nicotine products as healthy options to replace smoking are prohibited. So that's just the state adding further in restriction on top of the FDA's restrictions already. The Alcoholic Beverage Control Board will regulate e-cigarettes and vaping products.
See, that's what I don't understand. I've seen this in other states before, and just like having the people who regulate the control boards that regulate alcohol. I don't understand what puts alcohol in the same category as like tobacco and nicotine alternatives.
I find that one interesting, because on one hand, I think it's a mentality of we're going to put sin products together, and especially when they consider they want to sin tax us as well as alcohol and other tobacco products. It kind of makes sense. On another hand, it also concerns the shit out of me, because you have an organization who has no idea about this product at all trying to regulate it. These people know about alcohol, a mind-altering poison instead of nicotine, a stimulant that in vaping products is relatively benign. So it's interesting to me. So to continue on, It also restricts selling of vaping and nicotine products to anyone under age 19, and violating this provision could result in a fine of up to $300 and up to 30 days in jail. So, strange that in a world of moving everything to tobacco 21, Alabama is considering 19 to be a more appropriate age.
See, each state's doing something different. It feels like 19, and then you see the ones where it's doing 20, and then the 21. I feel
the
like
19 argument, I guess, works though.
Yeah.
19-year-olds are definitely shouldn't be in high school theoretically, unless you're completely a delinquent.
Yeah, if you're on the 5-year plan.
Right. So I kind of get where they're coming from. This keeps that whole old enough to serve, old enough to smoke attitude kind of alive. But it's weird. I suspect there'll be a national tobacco 21 at some point, and it'll nullify that anyway. And I think that might be why they chose to move in the direction they moved. So the next couple bullet points, it prohibits advertising vaping products near schools or opening vape shops within 1,000 feet of a school, child care facility, church, youth center, or public library, playground, or park.
That one I actually agree with.
So that one is relatively reasonable. Now, the only thing that freaks me out there is that I think about a vape shop being somewhere, and then, up above there are apartment buildings, and someone registers their home as a child care facility.
How often does that happen, though?
I mean, in my town, where I live, in my small town of Plymouth, every shop in town, in the downtown area, has apartments above it. There are vape shops in my town specifically with apartments right above them. And if somebody wanted to ball bust, they could open a child care facility inside the apartment above that place and immediately put them in violation of that law. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. I'm not opposed to it, don't get me wrong. I just think that there's going to have to be some litigation involved at times, I think, because someone's going to have to try to fight this one way or another. I mean, just recently in one of our towns, there was a effort to put in a recreational adult use facility, and it was 5 feet, I think it was, too close to a school. The truth is, I don't think it would have affected the school children at all, being where it was going to be located. But, it was one of these idiosyncrasies that people were able to make a big deal about. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it's fine. But I think that there's definitely going to be stories of litigation involved where people are going to fight it and argue it because it's a weird one, and there's going to be some odd situations where people are going to nitpick it.
The point Angela just made made me think of something else, and she said, how about the people who are already locked into leases? Which is, if you're locked into a lease, you're stuck with that. What
Right.
that makes me think of is, what if you're locked into a lease, and let's say someone decides to open up a daycare, or if you're in the city limits and the building next door to you or 2 buildings down decides to open up daycare or any kind of thing, where a library or a small little anything like that.
Right. My old vape shop would have been in trouble. And it's funny that Angela talks about the leases because where we were originally located in our initial town, there was a daycare facility behind our building. It would have been less than 1,000 feet away. And in regard to the leases, it is the reason why we had to move our vape shop, because the landlord wanted multi-year leases. Mm-hmm. And in the current climate, most vape shops are afraid to commit to 2 or 3 year leases. And especially right now, I mean, could you imagine if a vape shop had committed to a 2-year lease, knowing that the majority of their products may be off the market in 10 months.
Yeah, I believe it is now 285 days. I think.
Right. Once you're locked into those kind of leases, you're stuck. We were unable to get a mixed use clause, which meant that if the industry were to fold, we would have been stuck paying that lease regardless of whether we had a shop operating in the space or not.
Okay, so Angela's saying that if that was a situation that happened, the city would most likely not renew that facility's tobacco license, which that's a way to...
Yep. Right
there, that's a way to shut down a business and get people off of jobs, people who have put their life into creating that business. Like how, I don't know if it was Angela or Liv was saying, where people have cashed in their 401ks and started a business in vaping. Just opened up a shop or created a company. Oh, I got sneeze. Holy mother of God.
There it is.
Whew. So it's all... With a lot of these laws that are coming out, including indoor vaping bans and everything, there's a lot of stuff that is still gray and not fully explained, which is always something that bothers me, because with every little bullet point that a law has, you can always think of one little thing that would be like, oh, what if this situation happened? They don't break... It's so black and white to where I feel like they don't think of like things that are logical and things that, and the situational things that would happen, to where, for example, the one I brought up, to where you're already in a spot have the shop open and everything, and then somebody decides to open some kind of facility, or let's say somebody decides to build a park across the street.
That's all it takes. I mean, and so like the other kick in the ass here, the last bullet point that Angela puts in here, this law will limit billboard advertising for vaping liquid to offers for only 3 flavors: tobacco, mint, or menthol. Critics said fruit-flavored vaping liquids attract younger users.
Okay, who are these critics?
Now, yeah, this is ridiculous. And for one, the majority of vape companies aren't really spending money on billboard advertising. But
no, they're spending their monies in other avenues.
But that being said, I immediately think of vape events, NVE, ECC, those sort of things. I know in past years, NVE in Connecticut had spent money for billboard advertising. And would that mean that if they had an advertiser, say Crumbs for an example, who does not make tobacco or plain menthol flavors, if their logo is featured on that billboard, would that be a violation of these kind of laws? You know what I mean? It's frustrating, because if people don't understand that there are options available for them, they don't know what they don't know, and they're never going to go find out. People need to understand that vaping is more than these 3 things, and that if they went and explored it, they could get something that would work.
I completely agree with what Livia is saying, too. She says a gas station can sell cigarettes and beer right next to a daycare, but the scary e-cig is banned.
Exactly.
That is something that is impossible to wrap your head around, really, because obviously it doesn't make any fucking sense. So there's so much, how I said before, there's so much black and white in these things. Like, I love how a lot of these legislations with like indoor vaping bans and everything, they don't mention anything about these legislations having to do anything with tobacco or anything with cigarettes. They go out of their way to target vaping because they think it's going to fix the youth epidemic.
So to my friends in Minnesota, I have a thought, and this is completely wild and insane and very vapor swaggins of me to even go this wild. But what you can do is you can create a private club, and then you can charge membership to your private club. And in which case, because it's paid membership into the private club, if you wish to allow vaping inside said private club, that will be your prerogative. They do it here with other products. It's the only reason I know that it's like a weird gray area that you can sneak through. So, for my friends in indoor vaping places that really want to be able to vape indoors, that's something you could do. I wouldn't, I don't know. It's probably a real pain in the ass to set up all that stuff. But, hey, that's the crazy thing,
loophole,
right?
I guess, right?
E-cigarette prohibition leads to black markets. That's all it does. It leads to turning something that should be out in the open into an illicit product. And now it means that, great, you made it hard for kids and adults to get vaping products, and those who are in the know now have to go through clandestine measures in order to get them. It's so contrary to the point of public health that it frustrates the hell out of all of us. And it's why we fight. And that's why we're here. And so I think we can summarize tonight with, this is why we fight, guys. We got to beat back bad legislation at every turn, including something as minuscule as indoor vaping bans, because they're bad for business, they're bad for conversion, they're bad for getting people on a healthy track. And at the end of the day, we're all about conversion. We're all about harm reduction and public health. A lot of people talk harm reduction, but they don't live it. And that's something that we need to always keep in mind. There's no judgment here. It's all about harm reduction. And whether you're smoking still and you're getting 3 cigarettes in a day and you're vaping the rest of the day, or you're straight loyal to the coil, at the end of the day, it's about reducing the harm you do to yourself. And that's why we fight.
Damn right. I wanted to bring up a little bit something before we kind of do our sign-offs and all that stuff. So, last weekend, Vapors Carnival happened in North Carolina, which I heard was a great success.
As usual.
I give them tons of props to people who organized it and put it all together. They did a fantastic job. It's crazy to see that a convention in North Carolina did better than a convention in Long Island, New York. That's what I saw that and I was like, wow. If
well,
people at MVU
that doesn't surprise me either, though. North Carolina is tobacco country, whereas New York is very liberal and health conscious to begin with. It is disheartening, though, because you would think that you would see the Northeast turn out more than New York had.
Fucking
loud pipes save lives.
Yeah, so with that being said on there, Matthew Elliott was there, Vaping Legion. He was part of the advocacy panel. And he put some exciting news that I definitely want to be a part of. We don't know when it's going to happen or any kind of other details at this moment, but there is now going to be a March on Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you look at something on social media, it shows Matthew giving the announcement during the advocacy panel. And all I have to say to anybody, find it and please go out of your way and try to make that. I'm going to try to be there. I know, Sean, if you're available, you'll try to make it as well.
Yep.
Almost everybody in this chat, if they had the ability, they would be there. This is something that needs to happen.
I agree. In the state of Massachusetts, in the city of Boston, I've marched for a few different reasons. Many of those causes, we got our message heard from marches, because when people show up in numbers and they're chanting and they're holding signs and they're showing solidarity for a cause, politicians get scared. because they look and they see a sea of people and they recognize that that's constituents, and they realize that their jobs are on the line when they've pissed that many constituents off.
They fear unification. That's what they do.
When you think about a football game, excuse me, when you look at a crowd in a football game, what is that? 150, 200,000 people? You imagine that same crowd marching the streets of Washington, chanting about vapor. You imagine an entire football stadium full of people marching through Washington for the cause of vaping. That's going to get some attention. That's going to get national news media attention. And love him or hate him, Matthew Elliott cares. I know he can rub people the wrong way. He's an abrasive individual. But I get fired up when I listen to him talk because he cares. He's passionate. You don't believe me? If you don't know who he is, you can go onto my channel. I have a video of his speech from NVE in Connecticut. That man is passionate. And that's the passion that he wants to incite in everybody. He wants all of you to be as fired up as he is, as I am, as Poonsauce is getting. Like, we're ready. It's going to take grassroots political action. And that's going to be it. It needs action now. And here we are, man. Keep your eye out for that, because it might be the most meaningful thing we ever do for vaping as an industry and a community. If we can all stand up together, put the petty bullshit aside, and stand unified against prohibition. It didn't work for alcohol. It's not going to work for vaping. It didn't work for cannabis. It's time. We need to stand up, take a stand against it, and join forces. It's really that simple.
Instead of them taking the fight to us, we're taking the fight to them.
Absolutely.
And we're coming in with the masses, and nobody's going to be able to stop us. We're going to let our voices be heard. We're going to make sure our voices are heard.
I told you guys, it's easy. Pulling permits for peaceful protest is not difficult. I am honored to know that there are people out there who are taking those actions. I support it 110,000%, and I hope you guys do too.
Yeah, on that note, guys, I think we're getting towards the end here. I would like to thank everybody for watching, everybody who stuck with us. And it's kind of we have a couple episodes we kind of been more laid back, kind of haven't been heated since the first couple episodes, but we're just trying to talk about things that are going on right now and trying to inform you guys of things that are happening, because it might not be happening at your front door right now, but like what Minnesota and what Alabama's doing, you could wake up one morning and then realize the next day something is coming into effect that you didn't even know about. These politicians love to pass shit behind your back. I mean, another example, my town of Plymouth, where I live, America's hometown, where the Pilgrims landed, they snuck Tobacco 21 in at the very last second, just so that they could beat the grandfather clause in the state Tobacco 21 law. Because if you were Tobacco 21 before the state law went into effect, the grandfather clause didn't matter. So the day before New Year's Eve, they passed the T21 law just to screw the people. They didn't say anything, nothing. They just passed it in a silent vote. There it is. Now it's a thing. Screwed everybody up immediately on the first of the year. It could happen to you, and that's why we fight. Let them know your thoughts and share your voice to them before they stab you in the back the instant it becomes available to them. Truth. Make sure, don't wait until this stuff is about to happen at your front door. No. Don't. because by then you're already gonna be too late. The moment you're at that point, then there's no point of fighting because it's gonna happen. Make sure your voice is heard before they even have the opportunity to do that. Make sure you're fighting before they even have the opportunity to even think about putting these legislations into place. Give them the thought of you're gonna share what you think, how that if they don't agree with vaping, then you're not gonna keep them in office. You're not gonna vote for them.
That's it.
The main thing about this is make sure your damn voice is heard. Don't sit there and let other people do it for you, because you're not gonna win anything that way.
And that's the bottom line, because Poonsauce said so. And with that, don't let the bastards get you down. Be cool. Don't be a dick. And, of course, keep it cloudy.
So, on that note, just a quick reminder, guys. I don't think I told you guys on Monday, but there will be no What's Your Story this weekend since I'm going to be taking a little road trip to Michigan this weekend.
Yes.
Going to see Mr. OhmMyLanta and all the Canadian buddies. Looking forward to that. So we will see you back here next week for another episode of What's in the News. So hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week, fantastic weekend, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Okay, keep on vaping, everybody.
Keep it cloudy, comrades. Holy cloudses. There's so many cloudses. Oh, blavin'. And don't forget, That's What She Said is on at 10 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. Bada bing.
Was this like at the end of like thing where they list off the quick read of like different side effects of the? Oh yeah, That's What She Said Thursday on 10 p.m. Like say it really quick and like, oh yeah, don't forget about the green room on Fridays. Oh, the vapes too. Weekend wisdom on Saturdays. Huh?
The secret to that is that you do it as quickly as you can without fucking it up, and then you gently speed it up a little bit more and a little bit more. It'd be a riot to actually do a promo of all that shit that we all do in our little circle, and then just have those ready, like boom, 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 boom.
See, I'm still talking on there about the thing. We haven't even picked up our vapes yet, so I don't know when to stop the stream.
It's a motherfucking long delay. I know.
I know. What the hell's happening right now? This is a fucking delay.
It's especially weird for you because it has to go from you through to YouTube, from YouTube back through to your...
Okay, you're saying your thing. And then I'm going to end it right when we start vaping. So, you guys if you guys are seeing this, you guys are just seeing us. This is what happens when the stream towards the stream ends. Because I don't know how to do this shit with the whole stream.
Yeah, shout out to David Moyle for saying nice show, guys. If you're still here.
Thank you, David.
We appreciate you.
See? Yeah, vape again, making sure like we're doing it again.
Just a couple of idiots trying to get through a show. No fucking clue what's going on.
I don't have no clue what's going on. Up, we're vaping. Gotta end the stream. Bye! Hey, didn't end. Shit!
Oh, man.